Previously on Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Not Slytherin, eh? Well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor.
Welcome to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The third floor corridor is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to suffer a most painful death.
Remember me? Ron Weasley, that slimy Slytherin Draco Malfoy, ran through this door with an owl under his arm.
Go home to your mother, Potter. Oh, sorry, you don't have one, do you?
Hi, Harry. Have you met Hermione yet? She's rather annoying, isn't she?
Investigations continue into the break-in at Gringotts, rumoured to be the work of dark wizards.
Been some very strange goings-on of late. Be careful, Harry. Ain't he lovely? I'll call him Norbert. He's a Norwegian ridgeback, you know.
Malfoy stole my Remembrall. You've got my Remembrall back. Thanks, Harry.
I'll admit you have remarkable talent on a broomstick. Hurry along to the Quidditch pitch. Your first match against Hufflepuff is about to start.
Wow! You're going to play Quidditch, and as a Seeker too.
Well now, if it isn't the notorious Mr. Potter. Remember my name, it's Professor Snape. And I know all about you, boy.
The race for the house cup is heating up.
Potter, I've never seen such pathetic work. Go fetch the jar of fireflies from the adjoining room. I wasn't expecting you back so soon.
Do you remember that Dumbledore said that the upper castle is out of bounds to all students? That must be where the stolen object is! Your father left this invisibility cloak in my possession before he died. It is time it was returned to you. Use it well.
There are things in the Forbidden Corridor that are not for the eyes of mere boys like you.
There is something very special in the Forbidden Corridor that I've had my eye on for some time.
It's cornered Hermione in the girls' bathroom.
Fuck! 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 What the fuck, man? Fuck's sake! So after the troll escapade, you'd think that would be enough excitement for one day. But no, because instead of heading to the Gryffindor common room for some much needed rest, it's now time for our next Quidditch match. Thanks, McGonagall. I just nearly got stepped on by a big ass troll, and you're not even going to let me have a sit down for 5 minutes? Jesus, this fucking school. So you head down to the Quidditch pitch where Hermione takes the opportunity to ask Hagrid about the third floor corridor. Oh, so now you're asking questions, eh, Hermione? But I thought you already had all the answers. I mean, you are supposed to be the Wizarding World's answer to Sherlock Holmes, aren't you? And then Hagrid just immediately jumps to Fluffy the three-headed dog, as if that's the only thing that could possibly be on the third floor. And then he mentions Nicholas Flamel. Oh, sorry, Nicholas Flamel as he's apparently known in this version. But then the blabbermouth clams up before you can get any more out of him. When we're doing the lesson on the Cruciatus Curse, I'm sure that'll loosen your tongue. Anyway, you then do the Quidditch match, this time against Ravenclaw. Not much to say here, I already talked about the Quidditch in part 1, so if you're just dying to know my thoughts on it, you can head back and watch that. But even though the Quidditch isn't great, at least this game actually has it, unlike a certain other game set in the wizarding world. But anyway, you win the match and it's back to the main story, and things are really starting to heat up now. I mean, we now know about Nicholas Flamel and Fluffy the three-headed dog, so he must be getting near the climax, right?
I've got some bad news, Harry. Norbert isn't doing too well, he's very sick.
Shame. Anyway, so about this Nicholas Flamel bloke.
We need to make him some special dragon tonic to pep him up again.
Okay, whatever.
The tonic needs some very rare components though, and there aren't any in the castle. So you and I must go to Diagon Alley to get them.
Wait, what? What do you need me for? I don't have time for this, Hagrid. I've got a fucking Philosopher's Stone to look for. Oh, fine, whatever. But you better not fuck off and leave me to get all the fucking ingredients. So yeah, just when things were really starting to get moving, the game then feels the need to completely derail the story with more relevant bullshit just to pad itself out. I mean, if you wanted us to visit Diagon Alley, why not just do it at the start of the game before going to Hogwarts, like in the actual story? But once again, let's just go with it. Okay, so now we've arrived in Diagon Alley. And don't you say it, Hagrid. Don't you fucking say it.
I'm off to the leaky cauldron for a few butterbeers if you need me. I'll meet you when you're all done.
Oh, so that's why you need me to come, is it? Not to spend time with me or anything, cause, I don't know, I kinda had this funny idea that you were supposed to be my friend, but nah, you just want me to go and get the ingredients so you can go and get shit-faced in the fucking pub. Huh, nice. But before we can go and get the ingredients, first we need to head over to Gringotts to get some money to pay for them. Wait a minute, so not only do I have to get the ingredients myself, but you want me to pay for them with my own money? Are you fucking serious? You're an arsehole, Hagrid. Fuck you. Fuck you. First you send me into the Forbidden Forest alone for your fire seeds and now this? What do you think I am, you fucking servant? You saved me from the fucking Dursleys and now you think you can just take advantage of me whenever you please? You're worse than the Dursleys. They were arseholes, but at least they never forced me to risk my life and spend my own money. You're the worst friend a guy could have, Hagrid. I've known narcissistic psychopaths who are better friends than you. You ever been on YouTube? You see all those self-help videos telling you to cut toxic people out of your life? You know who they're talking about? They're talking about you, Hagrid. You! You selfish fucking prick. So anyway, now we're off to do a bit of shopping for that lazy piece of shit Hagrid. And believe me, if there was a dialogue option to tell him to go fuck himself, I would absolutely 100% be smashing it. Just like you should be smashing that subscribe button to subscribe to DayVeeJay for more classic PS1 reviews and retrospectives. I know, I just couldn't resist. But sadly, there are no dialogue options, so I guess we're stuck with it. So first we've got to head over to Gringotts, because I guess the wizarding world has never heard of a fucking cash point. And while the story is quite a bit different to the source material, I must say the game does do a pretty good job of capturing the look and feel of Harry's world. You've got pretty much all the notable locations from the first film, like the foyer, the Great Hall, the Gryffindor Common Room, the castle grounds and Hagrid's hut, the Quidditch field in Diagon Alley and the Gringotts Bank, and even with the limitations of the graphics at the time, they all look pretty much like their counterparts from the film. The graphics themselves are pretty standard for the period. They're fine enough, although there are some nice little details, like the atmospheric lighting in some areas and the spiders scuttling around the floors of the castle, and Harry's reflection in the floor at Gringotts. And the character models, well, to be fair, even if they aren't particularly great, they do at least broadly resemble the characters from the film, even if some of the likenesses aren't particularly flattering. Oh, Neville. But anyway, back to the story. So now we're at Gringotts to get some money to pay for Hagrid's shit, and the first thing I noticed was how slippy the floor is. Like, Jesus Christ, what is this, a bank or a fucking ice rink? There really needs to be a fucking sign or something, because that's a fucking lawsuit waiting to happen. Believe me, I know. You then head for the vaults and... You're responsible for this? Fucking shiny enough for you? What, are they paying you by the fucking centimetre or something? So you talk to this guy who asks you if you want to collect some knuts. If that's the money, then yeah. But then he tells you that before you can enter the vault, you have to collect a bunch of forms first. Because... why? Oh, so this is why the floors are so slippy. Just to make this bit slightly more challenging. So now you've got to run around and collect all the forms within the time limit. And I have to ask again, just why? What's the point of this? It literally serves no purpose whatsoever. It's just useless padding. Just like the obstacle courses before the lessons. And also like them, these bits weren't fun either. They were just tedious and annoying. So once you collect the forms, you're now allowed to enter the vaults. And Jesus Christ, just wait till you see this. So we actually have to control the minecar itself as we head down into the vault to get the money. And while the controls are fairly simple, this bit was pretty insane. So this is pretty much your standard on rails bit. You use the directional buttons or the left stick to swing the minecar from side to side to catch the coins and avoid obstacles, which will make you lose your coins if you hit them. Well, that sounds simple enough. So what exactly is so crazy about this bit? Well, as you swing the car from side to side, it quickly builds up momentum, and you often have to go all the way around to catch all the coins. And when you do, I mean, Just look at this. It looks like you're staring into a fucking optical illusion. And I really don't blame you if you have to look away, because I certainly had to. I'm not kidding. It was giving me motion sickness. I've been on fucking roller coasters that didn't make me feel as queasy as this. And that's not all, because sometimes the car speeds up and the spin gets even worse. And if you hit an obstacle, then it sends you spinning around all over the place as well. It's seriously like something you could use to hypnotise someone. For pretty much this whole bit, I was just sitting there like... Oh, and the objective's a fucking lie. This ugly fucker tells you only need to get as many knuts as you can to pass, but you've actually got to get enough to fill up the meter in the upper right hand corner, which turns out to be almost all the coins on the track, and if you don't, then you've got to do the entire thing all over again. There's also these extra jewels you can get as well, for some reason. They don't seem to do anything or have any purpose. At first I thought they might help to make up for any coins that you missed, but apparently not, so no idea what that's all about. Alright, I finally got the money. Now can I get the fuck out of here and buy the shite for that drunken piece of shit Hagrid? Whoa, slow down there, kid, because we've only got the knuts. Now we have to get the sickles and galleons. That's right, we've got to do this shit 2 more times. Minimum, because you know I'm not going to get through it on the first attempt. So you have to run around and get the forms again, because it was so much fun the first time, and then you can go down into the vault to get the sickles. It's just another minecart bit, just like the last one, except a little more difficult. At least you get a quick warning telling you which direction to move to get the coins and avoid the obstacles, but the whole thing's just so disorientating that you really do need to be on the ball to react in time. Or you can just be like me and go through these bits so many times that you just memorise where all the coins and obstacles are and what moves to make. Yeah, that works just as well. So you get the sickles, then run around and get the forms again, and then do one more track for the galleons, and there you go, you're done. And after every one, the daft fuckers actually have the fucking balls to ask if you want to do it again. Are you for real, mate? You seriously think I would get back on that thing? I never want to play through that shit ever again in my life. And I'm serious this time, that bit was horrible, to the point that it might even make me think twice about giving this game another go in future. But whatever, we've got the money and can finally go and buy the ingredients. But if you thought it would be smooth sailing from here, ho ho ho, you've not been paying attention, because...
There's more. There is always more.
Alright, so we've got 3 shops to visit, like Ollivander's to get some peacock feathers. Rather niche business. Ollivander's, seller of wands and a few feathers from a peacock I keep in the back. And get this, after giving old Ollivander the money, does he just hand over the feathers as per the expected transaction? Of course not! Instead he sends you out the back to get the feathers yourself. Are you kidding me? That's like if you go to a butcher shop for, I don't know, some sausages or something, you give the guy the money, but instead of giving you your meat, he takes you in the back and there's just a fucking live pig standing there. Then the guy hands you a knife and he's like, here you go, have at it. So anyway, you've basically got to chase this bird around this maze-like section to get 3 feathers within the time limit. Not sure why there's a time limit. Maybe you're not actually paying for the feathers, you're just paying for the time to get them off the peacock. And when you run out, old Ollivander will be like, right, that's your lot, get the fuck out. But yeah, you'd think this bit should be fairly simple, but surprise, surprise, no. So you're just chasing this stupid bird around like Stallone in Rocky 2, but for some reason when you catch it, Harry doesn't just grab a handful of feathers. No, instead you've got to keep touching the peacock until this meter fills up, and when it does, you get a feather. The problem is the bird moves so fast and keeps changing direction at random, so it's hard to keep up with it. And if you're like me, you'd think you can just cast a spell on the thing to stop it for a few moments so you can get the feathers. But no, because that'll make that stupid old goat Ollivander cry, and then you have to start again. You want to be thankful it's just a spell, mate. If this was real life, I'd have just grabbed the fucker and snapped its fucking neck. I'm just kidding, I don't condone violence against animals. Unless they piss me off. He also tells you to sneak up on it, and that's surprising it makes it drop its feathers, but that never seemed to work for me. Whenever I got near the fucking thing, fast or slow, it would instantly know I was there and take off, and it never dropped any feathers, so I don't know what this daft old fucker's going on about. You can also use the invisibility cloak, but that didn't work either, because apparently peacocks have x-ray eyes on the backs of their heads now. Anyway, if you keep on the thing for long enough, you'll eventually get the 3 feathers and it's on to the next shop. Here you've got to get some warts off a toad, but it's hiding in one of the boxes, so you've got to smash them to find it. But if you smash the wrong ones, this old battle axe goes off it and you've got to start again. And I admit I made this bit hard through my own stupidity, because as soon as I was done talking to the old bag, I just went to town smashing through all the boxes, not realising that you actually have to look for the one that shakes, because that's the one with the toad in. Then in the last shop, you've got to use Wingardium Leviosa to feed a few things to this owl so you can get a feather off it. And there you go, you've got all the ingredients. Oh, there you are, you fat fuck. Have fun at the fucking pub. Probably a lot more than I've been having, you prick. Just get me the fuck out of here, will you? So you get back to Hogwarts and cure Norbert, but then that little miscreant Malfoy shops us to McGonagall, and now we've all got detention. Even though that doesn't really make sense in this version, since it was fucking Hagrid who roped us into this shit, so he should be the one getting in trouble. But yeah, like that selfish bellend's gonna go out of his way to help us. Alright, so now we're in the Forbidden Forest looking for the wounded unicorn, and of course that worthless piece of shit Hagrid is just gonna leave us alone again, probably to go and get pissed somewhere else. Yeah, well, who needs you, dickhead? So now you've just got to follow the unicorn blood through the forest, and overcome the various obstacles you come across. Like big tortoises that shit fire at you. I don't remember reading about that. There's not a whole lot to say about this bit, although I did find it to be pretty atmospheric, with the lighting and the sound effects. I could easily imagine 8-year-old me being pretty creeped out by this, just like I was when I saw it on the big screen. Speaking of which... Oh, hello there. I didn't see nothing. I'll just be on my way now. Oh well, I guess Harry's dead now. Oh no, he's the narrator to tell us what happened. Yeah, it seems like every time they had a bit where they couldn't figure out how to make gameplay out of it, or just couldn't be asked to animate it, they were just like, just get the narrator in to explain it. So that's who our stalker is. It's he who must not be named. Or mentioned, apparently, since this is the first fucking time we're hearing about him in the whole fucking story. Back at Hagrid's hut, the daft fucker decides now's the best time to give you a flute that can be used to put animals to sleep. I wonder if that'll come in handy later on. And then Hermione tells us that she thinks the stolen object is the Philosopher's Stone. Well, I guess she had a little more to go on this time, so I can't really have a go at her for that. But then straight after she says Snape's probably after it. Like, why? What are you basing that on? 'Cause he's a dick and he acts a bit shifty sometimes? That's all you've got? And rumours about you-know-who being involved? What rumours? I haven't heard any rumours. You're just pulling all this out of your arse, aren't you? Anyway, she tells you to meet her and Ron at the 3rd floor corridor to get to the stone before Snape does. And this is pretty much your last opportunity to collect stuff or do any side objectives, because once you meet them, that's the point of no return and you'll be locked out of everything. So you arrive at the 3rd floor and the first thing to do is get past Fluffy the 3-headed dog. And Jesus Christ, what is it, possessed by fucking Zool or something? In any case, you've got to use the flute Hagrid gave you to make this giant hellhound catch some Z's. But you can't just put it to sleep all at once. Instead, you've got to do each head individually. Like, what, are the hard of hearing or something? You go near one and the other two can't hear shit? What the hell? Anyway, you've just got to do the quick little button pressing bit to play the tune which gradually makes each health bar empty. But playing it just once doesn't cut it. Instead you've got to play this tune again and again and again, and it's just the same button sequence over and over. No variation or anything. So yeah, it doesn't take long to get boring and repetitive. But it gets more annoying because this is a boss fight, I suppose, so while you're playing this daft fucking tune, the stupid mutt will jump forward every once in a while to take a bite out of you, meaning you have to keep running away from it, and even then it can be difficult to avoid getting hit, unless you try and preempt it. So yeah, overall this bit was just tedious, and not much fun to do. So once you've done that, you jump down the trapdoor and now it's time for the Devil's Snare bit, and this wasn't that much fun either. You've basically just got to hit the tentacles in order with a charged Flipendo spell, and you know which one to hit by looking for the one that's brighter than the rest. The problem is it's annoying trying to avoid getting hit by the others. If you get too close you're probably going to get whacked, and you also slow down to a walk when you're charging up your spell, which leaves you vulnerable. And even though the controls are pretty good, this is still PS1, so they are still a bit janky, so it can be difficult moving around and keeping a safe distance from the tentacles. Next you've got to do the bit where Harry catches the flying key, and Jesus Christ, this is the most faithful to the story the game's ever been. But aside from that, there's not much to say. This bit's pretty much identical to the Quidditch. You just fly through the rings and then catch the key the same way you do the snitch. Next is the bit I've really not been looking forward to. It's the chess bit. For fuck's sake, I've never been good at fucking chess. But thankfully the developers knew that, so we get this instead. Basically, you're playing against both the white and black pieces that move towards you one space at a time, and you've got to move around the board to get the pieces to land on the same space, which causes them to destroy each other. Yeah, it wasn't too hard, although it does get a bit more difficult when you move on to the next boards. Alright, so we've beaten the chess bit, and I guess we've just abandoned Ron. In this version, Harry's just like, bah, weak. Leave him to die like the pathetic waste he is. So you continue on and now you've got to get past this troll. Oh man, I've had enough of fucking trolls. But this bit's simple enough. So simple I'm not even sure why they bothered to include it. All you've got to do is stay ahead of the thing and use Wingardium Leviosa to move all this shit out of the way before it catches up. And then it just falls down a hole. Yeah, whatever. Next we've got this bit, which I suppose is based on the potion puzzle from the book, but I guess the developers thought we were all too dumb to figure that shit out, so it's just a little thing where you just watch the cups move around and then choose the right one. Yeah, I know the drill, I've played fucking Lost in Time, and then you fight this knight guy to get the potion, and then on you go. Alright, time for the final showdown, with this stalker who we really don't know anything about or why he's trying to kill us. First he just sends a bunch of knights after you that you just have to use Flipendo on. Then he sends a big knight, and when you defeat that, his hood just kind of falls off and, oh, it's you. What's your name again? Professor NyQuil or something? Okay, whatever. Then it's time for the bit with the mirror, and then the true mastermind reveals himself. And, well, I guess it's Voldemort. Not that it tells you. I mean, I know because I've seen the film and read the book, but if you hadn't, you'd have no fucking idea what's going on right now. You'd just be like, who the fuck's this guy glued to the back of Quirrell's head? But yeah, I just love how the game just figures you've already seen the film or read the book, so it doesn't bother to explain anything. I mean, if the film followed the game's version of events, the final confrontation would probably go something like this.
I don't even know who you are.
But anyway, time for the final fight, which again is nothing like in the book or film, because I guess just running up to the guy and putting your hands on him doesn't make for exciting gameplay. So instead all you've got to do is run around, avoiding the guy's spells until he stops in front of one of the pillars, and then hit it with Flipendo to make it fall and bonk him on his bald fucking dome. Well, that works just as well, I suppose. But yeah, this fight isn't that great either. It's just as tedious as all the other stuff that came before. For most of it, you're just running around waiting for him to stop in front of one of the pillars. He'll try to hit you, but as long as you stay close to the mirror and keep running around it, he won't get you. And he also makes you get tied up in ropes that stop you from moving, which makes it even more annoying. But worst of all, if you get killed at this bit, you don't just start again, but you've got to go back and do this shit as well. I fucking hate it when games do that! Anyway, once you get his health down far enough, you actually do the bit where you're putting your hands on him to kill him. And oh god, that's not a very good image. What's he trying to do to poor old Harry there? And then you get a fucking POV shot. Jesus Christ, just imagine playing this in fucking VR. I think that would genuinely be fucking terrifying. Watch where you're putting your fucking hands, Quirrell. Anyway, you just have to hammer the square button for energy or whatever, and then press X when it appears to hurt the pervy fucker. And once you've done that, well, there you go. Although for some reason he doesn't disintegrate in this version, he just kind of pops his clogs. And that's it. The narrator comes back to tell us the end, Harry survives, I guess Ron really was left to die because he's not mentioned again, Dumbledore fiddles the points to make Gryffindor win the House Cup, and then Harry gets this weird and kind of unsettling look on his face. Oh god, I really don't want to know what's going on down below. And yeah, that's the end. So that was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on PS1. And in conclusion, yeah, I think it holds up pretty well. I mean, the story's pretty much been butchered to the point that it loses just about everything that makes the book and film compelling, but the gameplay was fun enough, for the most part, to look past that, even if there were a few bits that had no point to them and really shouldn't have been included. The game does a good job of capturing the look and feel of Harry's world. The environments look how you'd expect them to, the character models mostly resemble their counterparts from the film, the voice acting's decent for the most part, a few of the characters don't really sound right and some of the actors are trying way too hard to the point of comedy, but it's mostly fine. The soundtrack's good too and matches the atmosphere pretty well. There are a few flaws here and there and some things that don't really work. like the platforming can be a bit irritating and the Quidditch doesn't hold up very well, and there's some bits like the obstacle courses and random timed challenges that were just boring and pointless and not fun to play, and the last act where you're going after the Philosopher's Stone does get pretty tedious, but for the most part the gameplay is enjoyable. So yeah, I think Harry Potter on PS1's a decent game, although with things like Hogwarts Legacy out now, I wouldn't say there's that much reason to go back to it, unless you're looking for a nostalgia kick. So it doesn't take a master of divination to know that this was by no means the only Harry Potter game to ever exist, or even the only one on PS1. Fuck, there were hundreds of them. Of course, each of the films had to have games on just about every platform you can think of. Hell, I'm surprised they didn't have one on your fucking smart fridge. And many of these weren't just ports either, especially the earlier ones. No, these were individual games made by different developers. Then there were spin-offs like Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup. I actually had that, so we might have a look at it at some point. Then there were all the Lego games, whatever the fuck this thing is, all the mobile games that exist pretty much just to disapparate money out of your bank account, and most recently, of course, you've got Hogwarts Legacy. So if you're just itching to return to Hogwarts, it's not like you haven't got plenty to choose from. But as it stands, I've had enough of the Wizarding World for one day, so it might be a little while before my next visit to Hogwarts. Man, this turned out to be a lot more work than I'd anticipated. It's not a really long game, but there was just so much that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, this was my two-part review of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on PS1. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, particularly if you made it through both parts. If you did, then leave a like. If you didn't, then tell me to go fuck myself. Once again, thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed so far, and if you haven't yet, I would be extremely grateful if you would do so. Let's see if we can make it to 400 subscribers before the year's out. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.